What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Football Chat Box. My name is Ryan, and welcome to the game week one. You would say not even game week one, pre-season. The Premier League fixtures have been released. We've just got them, and we're going to be looking into them. Looking into basically the first opening set of fixtures, like from game week 1 to around game week 12, maybe around that time period. We're going to be looking at who have the more easier fixtures, have the bit like a bit more of a harder set of fixtures. We're also going to be looking at when can you play your wild card, and is a game week 1 bench boost also a possibility? So we're going to be looking into all of that today. Andy, welcome. Hope you are doing well. How are things going? So what you see right now, actually, let me get the game week 1 fixtures. I could have got that screen. Match week 1. Here we go. This here. All right. So this is the opening day fixtures. We basically got from the Premier League. And here we have Liverpool kicking it off against Bournemouth. Aston Villa are playing against Newcastle on the Saturday. So Aston Villa, Newcastle, Brighton playing Fulham, Forest playing Brentford, Sunderland playing West Ham, Spurs playing Burnley, and Wolves playing City on the Saturday. On the Sunday, Super Sunday, you've got Chelsea playing Crystal Palace in a London tie over there. And the big one, Manchester United are playing Arsenal at Old Trafford. And then on Monday, newly promoted Leeds face off against Everton. Yeah. Everton, who are not yet into their new stadium, but Leeds obviously back from the Championship, back into the Premier League, against Everton, who will still be under David Moyes. So this is game week 1. Now, first question. I guess FPL prices aren't out yet, so we won't really know. But would you, looking at this, play a game week 1 bench boost? Is there a possibility to play a game week 1 bench boost? If so, which type of fixtures you would target? Maybe Spurs kind of stand out there against Burnley as a fixture, maybe where you could get some Spurs players in potentially. You've got, you could say West Ham potentially slightly. With a few easy with a fixture against Sunderland, where you could probably look into some West Ham players. Maybe even Forest, depending on who Brentford get as manager. Forest could be an option. Everton against Leeds. Everton maybe, if you wanted, but then Leeds at home, they probably want to try and score a few goals. Not a bad fixture to play against Everton as well. So some interesting fixtures in there. Does this, let me know if you're watching this back as well. Does this put you off game week 1 bench boost, or are you considering game week 1 bench boost? Having said that, I also have the fixture ticker. Now, this is the fixture ticker of the opening. I've got 7 game weeks. Let me increase that. Opening, let's go. It's 8 game weeks, a decent time period. Opening 8 game weeks, sorted by difficulty. Got Sunderland up there. Now, this is based on fixture difficulty in terms of where Premier League teams finished in the table last season, which I generally don't like too much as a way of identifying which teams are good fixtures and which are not. So we're not going to look into this too much, but instead we're going to be looking into Opta. They put out a table. Now this is slightly bit better because it's basically analyzed in terms of, they have like a power ranking system where they analyze about 1,500 teams or something. They have over 13,000 men's domestic football teams and over 2,000 women's domestic football teams, and they kind of analyze them based on a scale of 100 to wherever the worst ranked team in the world is. Now, Liverpool being number 1 in the Premier League, they have taken a ranking of 100, which is, so they're basically ranked number 1. And then Sunderland are the worst ranked. I can actually show you this power ranking, how it's done. So this is in the Premier League. Liverpool have a rating of 100. Southampton have at this moment a rating of 80.6. Sorry, this is Southampton. Why is this, when is this updated? This hasn't got obviously the championship. So, like in terms of Sunderland, Leeds, they are not in here as well. So, if I was to like Sunderland as well, Sunderland have a rating of 82.3. Now, Sunderland are the lowest owned out of lowest rated team, I think, out of those three. With Burnley being, I would be assuming second. Yeah. So this is how the teams look like. I could probably go and add all of the teams in here, to be honest. But these are the newly promoted teams in terms of how they look like. Leeds and Burnley, nothing too much to separate. And if I was to put the rest of the Premier League in here, you would basically see Leeds and Burnley, funnily enough, actually being slightly above Wolves as well. Because Leeds were like 89.3, ranked with alongside West Ham. They'll be under West Ham. So Leeds and Burnley will be above Wolves, interestingly, in this table. So could I add Leeds? Yes. And so let's actually do that. There you go. So this is how it would be. In terms of how it's rated and how the rankings are actually done for this power ranking. So we're going to be looking into that. And based off that, we're looking at the opening 5 fixtures. Who has the toughest fixture run? Who has the more easier fixture run in the opening 5? I also have opening 10 fixtures in terms of who has the toughest fixture run and who has the more easier fixture run. Tiger, welcome. How are you doing as well? So Andy says, brilliant. I got in time for this today. Villa fixtures, goals for and against in the first few games. Log in eFootball to free coins. Yes, I'll have a look into that. Rogers will be 7.5ish. Enzo 6.5. Watkins 8.5. Saka 9.5. Yep, we'll have to see. Sri Lanka Spurs have good starting fixtures too. Everton cheap defenders. Marmush is well done. Street. Spurs, Forest, Villa, good fixtures. Yes, alongside Chelsea as well. I think have some very interesting fixtures as you can see opening. They're at the bottom here for fixture difficulty. What's the predictions on prices? Prices, we'll have a look. I'll probably have a look into that. Maybe not on this video. We'll probably look into it like a next video or next stream. This one we'll try and figure in terms of chips, when to play wildcard and bench boost potentially. Who's your picks at the end of the stream? More collecting all information together. Picks as in like teams or players? First 3 games are the most important. Fair enough, yeah. United versus Arsenal. Yes, indeed. United versus Arsenal opening fixture. So let's go back to this. Opening 5 fixtures. United have the hardest run, which means you probably would want to avoid Man United players at the start of the season. They've got Arsenal, City, and Chelsea. And if you were to extend this up to game week 8 from FPL team, thank you, FPL team. Pete, if you were to extend this up to game week 8, they've also got Liverpool in there, as you can see. So they have Arsenal, Fulham, Burnley, Manchester City, Chelsea, Brentford, Sunderland, and Liverpool. So they played 2 of the promoted teams, but they also played the top 4 of this season's top 4 in the opening 8 game week. So United actually have a tough opening run. After that, actually, it's a bit more easier and it gets a bit more doable. But the opening 8 game weeks, they face the top 4 and 2 promoted teams. So a bit of a tricky run for Man United. Arsenal, following that, they got United, Liverpool, and City in the opening 5. Are you looking at getting some Arsenal defenders, or do we just wait and not get any Arsenal defense for the start? How would you approach that? Does that put you off Arsenal defense at the start? Let me know in the comments. Bournemouth, Everton, and Liverpool wrap up the top 5 in terms of fixture difficulty. At the bottom, you got Aston Villa, Palace, West Ham, Burnley, and Brentford and Chelsea as well. These teams have the more easier start. So for Aston Villa, you're looking at obviously if the likes of Ollie Watkins, he remains, Konsa maybe potentially as well could be an option for those looking at defensive picks. Palace, if they manage to keep all of their players, at this moment we don't know where the likes of Eze and Mateta will end up being, but if they manage to keep them, they could potentially be one to consider. But at the same time, Crystal Palace are a team that generally don't start well at the season. They tend to have a very slow start, and Crystal Palace are more of a team that you're known, or at least are known to have a really good end to the season more than a start to the season. So it's obviously one to monitor in terms of Crystal Palace. West Ham have a pretty decent start. They play Sunderland, Chelsea is a tough one, but then they play Forest, Spurs, and Crystal Palace. Bowen, like Andy said, could become a nice, interesting punt. Burnley obviously have put a really good defensive display in the championship. Now, I'll have a video later. I'm still doing some research on it in terms of Burnley, Leeds, and Sunderland in terms of the three promoted teams and like which players will be the best to target from those teams. But I still think Burnley's defense, like their defensive performances, I don't think can translate to the Premier League. They obviously first here to see if they'll keep their keeper in Trafford. They've also, I think, lost a centre back as well, if I'm not mistaken. So obviously we'll have to wait and see if their defensive displays can translate to the Premier League. Brentford have lost manager Thomas Frank. They've also looks like they're about to lose Brian Mbeumo, to which team we don't know at this moment. But he also looks like he's leaving. So which manager will take over for Brentford, we'll have to wait and see. But they've got a decent opening run. The problem is, once Mbeumo has left, what impact does that have on Johan Wissa as well in terms of his playstyle and supply to him? We'll have to see. So obviously one to monitor in terms of Brentford. Chelsea, good opening run. Cole Palmer, Tiger, do you want Cole Palmer? Is Cole Palmer on your minds? Would you buy him for your game week 1 draft? Cole Palmer. Chelsea have a good opening run of fixtures with only United as the tough one in the opening first 5 fixtures. And even that, it's United at Old Trafford. So yeah, that's a slightly bit more harder game. So that's the opening 5. Opening 10, Chelsea even more of a better run, where they play their tough run is with United and Liverpool in the space of like 3 game weeks. So I'll switch to this one, a bit more easier to kind of visualize because of the slightly different colors. Now, I have reached out to Peter FPL.team and just to ask him why Chelsea haven't been highlighted as red in this. Same with Aston Villa, because for some reason Forest, City, and Newcastle are highlighted red, but Chelsea and Aston Villa haven't been highlighted. So I just don't know why that was the case. And the newly promoted teams are the ones that have been highlighted in green, with Liverpool and Arsenal as the teams highlighted in the dark red. Now, looking at this, the first thing to figure out, usually when we look at fixtures, we kind of want to see where you can play your wildcard. My draft so far: Arsenal 3 away games, United, Liverpool, and Newcastle. Yes. So Arsenal play United in game week 1 away from home. They play Liverpool at Anfield in game week 3, and then they play Newcastle in game week 6 away from home. They also play Manchester City at home in game week 5 alongside Forest. Arsenal have also an incredibly tough front, which is again why I go to the matter of like, would you have Arsenal defense to start the season? Their second pick for take that out of sentence. Cheapest attacking Gunners defenders. I'll look at. I don't know which one will be cheap, to be honest. Largest price will be about 7.5. Yeah, fair enough. How much cost Gyökeres would be in fantasy? That's assuming he comes to the Premier League first of all. At the rate it's going, I don't think at this rate both United and Arsenal might not even get Gyökeres the way it's going with what his agent is doing. I will say this about Palace. Sunderland had a bad run towards the end of the season. Fair enough. Minimum price would be similar to this season, I think. Oh, I don't know, because if Mbeumo does join either United or Spurs, Mbeumo's price will have to be reflected according to the team he joins as well. Even though Mbeumo had an incredible season, I still think you can't price. If this is depending on when he joins, okay, there are 2 things to consider with Brian Mbeumo's price. One, does he join before the game launches or does he join after the game launches? That would affect pricing as well. If he joins before the game launches, then the high likely chance is that he will be priced a bit more lower, even though he performed really well, because the team he's joining didn't have a great season. So you would assume, let's say for example, if he joins United, Bruno Fernandes is most likely going to be the one who's still priced the most expensive out of all the United players. So Mbeumo would most likely have to be under Bruno Fernandes' price. which Bruno Fernandes also probably should be a bit more cheaper at around 8 million potentially. So you'd expect Brian Mbeumo to potentially be under 8 million. Same thing with Cunha as well, even though they had individually good seasons, is what I would say. Well, I think that's how the pricing should potentially work. Who's Brentford's new manager? I don't think, have they got one? I'm not really sure, to be honest. Freddie, welcome. How are you doing? Visa will be okay. Passes probably get more goals. We'll have to see. I'm going to pick Palmer, says Tiger. Yes. Talisman Visa without Mbeumo. Yeah, Palmer could score in his last game in the Club World Cup. Couldn't score in his last game in the Club World Cup. Well, this is another thing we had to consider. Now, Chelsea have a really good opening run of fixtures. But how long will they go into the Club World Cup? How will that affect their opening preparation for the league as well? Something to probably keep an eye out for. But still, I think we might have some Chelsea players in our Game Week 1 draft. If you can save your chips for the doubles, I think, yep, Cunha will be a pick. He reminds me of Frenchman, and when I need one of them. I think I know which Frenchman you're talking about. Bruno 8.5, I'd say. Why did Brentford get a new manager? Have they got a new manager? Do we know who Brentford have got? I don't know who is Brentford's new manager. They've got Keith Andrews as one of the candidates from new manager of Brentford, but he was part of Thomas Frank's coaching staff. So we still don't know exactly who Brentford's new manager is going to be. We'll have to wait and see at this moment. Does Chelsea have any preseason games? Good question. Good question. Chelsea's preseason. No, they have not confirmed any preseason fixtures just yet because of the Club World Cup that will. I think the Club World Cup is the only information at the moment. There's no preseason fixtures planned for Chelsea at the moment. Brentford is a miss, then the manager was giving them a boost. Yep, so we'll have to wait and see. Now, this is how I was looking at it for chips. Freddie, hope you're having a good week as well. Welcome. Now, chips. First of all, when I looked at these fixtures, there wasn't necessarily a clear fixture swing per se. Usually, you want to play a wildcard when that fixture swing is happening. So there isn't a proper fixture swing. There's a tiny fixture swing, but it's not clear. It's not a proper clear fixture swing, which is where maybe if you can utilize your 5 transfers properly, you might be able to navigate. There are like tiny mini swings, I would say. There is no proper fixture swing like compared to last season. Now there are a few more mini swings within, and I'll kind of explain those mini swings that I've seen. But first, we've got international breaks. Now, usually a wildcard could be played in an international break, for example. We have 3 international breaks. The first one will come after game week 3. So between game week 3 and game week 4, your first international break. Your second international break is between game week 6 and game week 7. So you can play a wildcard before game week 7, or you can play a wildcard before game week 4. Those are some spots. Your third final international break for the year would be before game week 12. So between game week 11 and game week 12 is your third and final international break for the year, which is probably your last spot as well for another wildcard window. So those are 3 international break wildcard windows. On top of that, something I kind of was looking at was there is a decent enough swing. Now, obviously, I did mention one of the international breaks in terms of middle of game week 6 and 7. Now, Arsenal's fixtures, if we go back to this, Arsenal's fixtures after game week 6 are a bit more improved. So you could probably play, like, if you didn't get any Arsenal players, you could play a wildcard during that international break window between 6 and 7. Yes, 6 and 7. Was it 6 and 7? No, sorry. So international break is between 7 and 8. My bad. So you could play your wildcard between 6 and 7 if you wanted to, or wait till game week 7 is done and then play it during the international break, because you could play it in game week 6. You could play it after game week 6 for the game week 7 fixtures, and then international break, players go, get injured, don't have a problem. So hopefully you have some free transfers to deal with that. But that's one window where you can play it during game week 6. I think a lot of managers might actually play it during that window as well. The other one is game week after game week 7 during the international break, where people would like to try and gain a few price rises and whatnot. Tom, welcome. How are you doing? I would say this Club World Cup will be their preseason. Yep, I would probably agree with that as well. Is AFCON from 13th of December for like a month, so Salah is a no-go. I know that's a way of. Yeah, and after AFCON, usually when Salah comes back after AFCON, he's not the same player. So maybe Salah should be, after AFCON, Salah is just like not a consideration. Or we've always kept him, but he's never done anything, to be honest, after AFCON. So we'll have to consider that as well. Then the other, so okay, game week 6 is one, like, so you see Arsenal with a slightly better run of fixtures. Aston Villa, actually, if you were to hold until game week 7, you could potentially then offload on your game week 7. After your game week 7 wildcard, you could offload a few of the Aston Villa players. Like you could then, like, because they have Spurs, City, and Liverpool, you could kind of offload a few if you wanted in that 3 game week run, and then maybe get them back again, like game week 10 or even game week, game week 11 or game week 12 potentially. Apart from that, Chelsea are another team. Let's say you did that wildcarding, like, I don't know. Chelsea are a bit more of an interesting team. Chelsea, obviously, their fixtures, there is no within like the first 12 game weeks, there's no specific like bunch of fixtures that are hard. Like it's like relatively easy, then gets a tiny bit harder, and then gets a bit more easier, and then slightly a bit more harder. So it's like smaller gaps for Chelsea. So which means you're not going to really remove Chelsea players and add them again, because it's just unnecessary transfers wasted kind of like a kind of situation for that. But like for them, they're like game week until game week 4 it's nice. Then game week 5 they play United away, which is generally a draw at Old Trafford for some reason. So that's like a draw there. Then they play Brighton at home and Liverpool at home back to back. That could be a bit more of a hard. And then they play Forest away. So like that 4 game week period for Chelsea could be a bit of a tricky one. Then they go into a bit more of an easier run, where they have Sunderland and Burnley and Wolves as well. So you could want Chelsea players back again for that. So Chelsea is a bit more of a tricky one in terms of their fixture, the brackets of what's easy and what's harder. Another team is Newcastle, for example. If you were to, let's say, wildcard after game week 7, you would avoid Forest, Arsenal, and Liverpool and Aston Villa. You can avoid all 4 of those fixtures, and then get some Newcastle players after that if you wanted to. So game week 6, game week 7 is like somewhere of a wildcard window a lot of managers will be looking into. United also. United are a team that potentially maybe you wait. Depends on how they start the season. You could wildcard in game week 6, get them in for the Sunderland fixture, and then might have to bench against Liverpool. But then after that, it's not too bad in terms of the fixtures, depending on how Manchester United are actually playing. Or you just if you wildcard after game week 7, very unlikely that you get some Man United players ahead of the fixture in Liverpool. So it depends on when you wildcard that you probably might get a few United players in, to be honest. Because then otherwise people will just get them in and potentially bench them for game week 8. That depends on how they perform as well. Spurs actually don't have too bad of a fixture run. Their fixture run, for interestingly, gets actually a bit more harder. You could probably get a few Spurs players to start with, and then offload them in that wildcard window of 6-7. Where after that they go and play Aston Villa, Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal, and I think Newcastle as well in a short period of time. So Spurs are a team that you could start off with and then probably offload, to be honest, after like game week 7. West Ham are another team also that you could probably see. West Ham is a bit more of a tricky one. They have Sunderland, which is opening like a really good start. Then they got Chelsea, Forest, and Spurs. Tricky run. Then they got Palace and Everton. Palace also a tricky run, to be honest, with West Ham. Like West Ham's fixtures are they look a bit more harder. Depends on how they perform as well. Maybe Bowen might just be fixture regardless might generally be a decent play. The rest you probably wouldn't get anyone from West Ham. Wolves might struggle a bit this season, but their fixtures do improve from like game week 5. They have a decent run of fixtures. Game week 5 to game week 9, they have a decent run of fixtures. But and that might be in the middle of a wildcard window, but I don't know exactly who you'd want to get from Wolves. Also, weather in the UK is very unpredictable. Games get called off because of travels and there are other doubles. Yes, that's very unlikely at the start of the season. Sal has a spell on him after AFCON. Yep. A bench boost in game week 1 doesn't look that good to me. I may do once a few friendlies have been played. Fair enough. Yep, this is the game week 1, which is why I was asking people, are you put off by game week 1 bench boost now? Me personally, I'm still a manager who would play a chip in the double rather than a single game week whenever possible, except for the triple captain that was played last season. But generally, I prefer double game week than a single game week. Always 3-1 to someone. Newcastle Villa, that's always a game. Yeah. Get Cunha for Man United if he's there. We'll have to wait and see. Green Everton defensive assets after 6, 7, 8 game weeks. That's when they usually pick up their first clean sheet. Fair enough. I really like Chelsea for the start of the season. Palmer and Enzo. Yep, they could be options. Gordon is already playing one from West Ham. Yep. So yeah, Chelsea would be a good option. Now, the other one wildcard window I noticed was, I think the other one is probably when it correlates with the international break after game week 11, ahead of game week 12. There's a nice little tiny change of fixtures there as well. For example, so if we put it here at game week 6, this is like game week 11. 12 is when, so between 11 and 12 is the international break. And here you've got, obviously, Arsenal have a pretty decent run of fixtures you could have picked up on and you could continue to keep them, or you can slowly look to maybe offload a few Arsenal players ahead of Spurs, Chelsea, Aston Villa. Probably offload one Arsenal player if you wanted to when you get them in, and then maybe offload them potentially. Aston Villa's run, actually, when I told you they got like a bit tougher during 8, 9, and 10, Spurs, City, Liverpool, and then Bournemouth in 11 as well. If you were to wildcard in like after game week 11, you could probably get some Aston Villa players in as well, potentially. Leeds, Wolves, Brighton, pretty decent run. 3 of fixtures there. Arsenal tough, then again West Ham more easier. So Aston Villa could be a team that you potentially look to get in as well. Brentford also not too bad actually. Brighton, Burnley, Arsenal the only tough fixture, and then Spurs as well. But after that, their fixtures are not too bad as well after game week 11. Another team that maybe gets a bit more harder after it got a bit more easier. Again, for example, I didn't mention Leeds. Leeds have a slightly more harder run where during game week 11, they face Forest, Aston Villa, Man City, Chelsea, and Liverpool. This is the week where Leeds, if you had any Leeds budget players, you probably want to offload some Leeds budget options during this time period. Liverpool gets a bit more easier, where obviously I told that small tough run of Chelsea, Man United, Aston Villa, and City and Forest. You probably get, if you were to wildcard somewhere after game week 11, you could get some Liverpool players back in because they play Sunderland, Leeds, Brighton, West Ham, Wolves, and Leeds again. So that run for Liverpool is pretty good as well. But then this is where AFCON also comes into play, and then you might have to monitor Salah's situation in that specific moment. Spurs get harder. So if you were to jump on Spurs, like obviously the start you jumped on Spurs, good, but then you probably offload Spurs and you continue to offload Spurs until, I don't know, it's like until like game week 17, for example. So you probably just don't jump on Spurs if you offloaded them after game week 6 kind of situation. But that like game week 12, between game week 11 and 12 window, the fixtures, the turn isn't too much. Like it's not that great. Like it's not a big turn per se, to be honest. So this is why I was saying like the fixture calendar that has been put up this season is a bit more interesting. where I think you'll have to utilize your transfers properly and target smaller pockets of windows, like smaller windows potentially. Jamie, welcome. How are you doing, Jamie? I think Everton will be hard to beat in the new stream. I think so as well. So Everton, they've got Leeds opening fixture, but that's away from home. So Leeds obviously have scored a lot of goals in the championship. If that translates to the Premier League, maybe they might get a goal against Everton. But then after that, Everton have Brighton, Wolves, Aston Villa, Liverpool, West Ham, and Crystal Palace. I mean, Brighton at home, Wolves away, Aston Villa, West Ham, and Crystal Palace at home. Out of that, Aston Villa probably the only slightly more harder one for a clean sheet perspective. So it's not a bad opening set of fixtures for Everton. But then again, Everton's fixtures after, like where obviously Co mentioned, get them after like game week 6, 7, or 8. Game week 8 is when they play City. So you probably want them after like game week 8. So they got Spurs, Sunderland, Fulham, Man United, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Forest. Their run during game week 12 to 17 is also not easy. They got United, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Forest, Chelsea, and Arsenal. This is why I keep telling you guys, like these small pockets. There are like pockets, like 4 game week pockets, 5 game week pockets for some tough fixtures for certain teams. But there is not like a group of teams that go from easy to hard. It's like split in different game weeks. So planning is going to be a bit more interesting and tricky as well this season, to be honest. Who's the picks for Leeds? Solomon pops out to me. So Leeds, I did do my research. I was going to make this a separate video, but I will actually tell you what I found for my research. So I found 3 Leeds players. I'll mention this in a video later. Their forward, Joel Piore, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but him, Jaden Bogle, who is their right back, and Dan James. Solomon, who had a pretty good season, has gone back to Spurs. He was on loan. At this moment, there is no information that Solomon would be going back to Leeds. He was on loan. They've also lost their left back, Junior Firpo, whose contract ended, and he has left the club as well. So that entire left side of Leeds is just gone. That's left side of Leeds is just gone. And apparently Leeds have just signed another defender, which I don't think will make their formation change. They play a 4-2-3-1. So I still think they will play a 4-2-3-1. But I'll explain this all in the video that I look to do. I just need to finish my research on Burnley, and I've done my research on Leeds. I just need to finish the research on Burnley and Sunderland. G, welcome. How are you doing? Mana Salman or Salon? Yes. No, he hasn't signed for Leeds. There was talks that Thomas Frank wanted to see him at Spurs as well, first of all. So at this moment, he doesn't look like he's going to be going back to Leeds. So yeah, personally, I don't know at this moment when exactly I want to wildcard. I think it might be a situation where I wildcard during the international break. So somewhere between game week 7 or 8 during that window. Or I might even wait till the international break is done and see out game week 8 as well. And then between game week 8 and 9, potentially wildcard. Is that like a midweek fixture? I don't think so, right? No, they're all Saturday, yep. So, I mean, I might even potentially do like a game week between game week 8 and 9 wildcard as well, potentially, depending on how things go. Depending on how some teams perform as well, to be honest. Because there seem to be a few slightly harder fixtures. Like Chelsea have Liverpool and Forest. I could probably have removed a few Chelsea players and then bring them back in like game week 8, 9 for like Sunderland at home. I could probably do the same thing with Everton as well. Like their fixture run would have slightly gotten a bit more harder with Aston Villa, Liverpool, and City. and then I look to bring them back again. Potentially, I don't know. Depends on how the prices go and like how who has good prices and whatnot. City. Now here's the other question. City also have a City have a very interesting run. They got Spurs, Man United, and Arsenal in the opening five. Out of those teams, I think Arsenal might be the only tough one. Man United is at the Etihad as well, so it's a bit more easy for City on that one. So it's only Arsenal that's slightly tough. So I don't mind City's opening run, which leads to Salah versus Haaland, game week 1 in your draft. Who would you have? Liverpool opening 5 fixtures. Bournemouth, Newcastle, Arsenal, and Burnley and Everton. Actually, let me go back to this. Where is City? City, Bulls, Spurs, Brighton, Man United, and Arsenal. Opening 5. Liverpool, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Arsenal, Burnley, and Everton. Would you have both Salah and Haaland? Or would you have one? With Chelsea's easier fixtures, would you have Palmer from the start? Solomon might get a go at Spurs. Son may leave. Yeah, there are talks about that as well. People are like wondering what Heung-min Son is going to do. Even if Son doesn't leave, I still think Solomon could get a decent run at Spurs potentially. So yeah, probably end up wildcarding in game week 1 because of bad picks. my goal would be to stop Andy from putting too many budget players in his team from game week 1. I like Pierre, he could be a third forward. Yes, that is a potential as well. Although Leeds' opening run isn't the easy. They've got Everton, Arsenal, Newcastle, Fulham, and Wolves. Wolves being the easiest out of the lot. The other 4 look to be a bit more harder for Leeds to start off with. But depends on what price he comes at. If he comes in at 4.5, I won't complain. Don't mind a 4.5 option to be used later. I've been to Villa Park a couple of times. Stan Larson would be 5.5, I think. Too expensive is 6, but would be a pick better for Everton too. Stan Larson, maybe not the start for Leeds. Like look at that: City, Bournemouth, Everton, Newcastle, and Leeds for Wolves at the start. I probably wouldn't have any Wolves options for the moment. See how they kind of go and pick. I'd have Enzo over Farmer, says Andy. Check numbers last 4 defenders. Yes, try and stop me. Yep. I will have to make sure that when we're looking at Andy's game week 1 draft, that we prevent Andy from picking too many cheap budget options where he's trying to navigate the pricing market of FPL to try and gain team value. So I'll have to make sure I stop him from doing that. Having said about pricing market and whatnot, there was this new feature. I'm going to switch screens. There was this new feature that has been introduced by YouTube. And I think we'll try and use it a bit more during the season. Which is... Go back. YouTube has introduced a view community option. YouTube has introduced a community option. So if you are on your phone or... Yeah, on your phone. It's very hard to see. I don't think there's a place to see this on the desktop. But if you're on your phone... If you go to the football chat box, you can see this button, this new button that says visit community, which I have enabled. And if you were to click it, it will bring you up to basically a social tab where you'll see the post that I've done. But at the same time, now I'm using my Chatbox extra account for this one. You as a user could also put anything you wanted, and you can share it, and that will appear as part of the whole football chatbox community. So I thought we'll use this for the season upcoming. So if you guys wanted as well to, for example, share your teams on the football chatbox community where other subscribers can also look at your team, comment on it. I will also be able to look at your team, comment on it on there as well. So I've opened this up. I've enabled it on the channel. It's up there for everyone who has subscribed. You just have to be subscribed. I think the minimum requirement is you have to be a subscriber for 1 day, basically. So if you have subscribed, you will be able to see the community button, and then you basically click that community button, and then you can make posts as well on there in terms of sharing teams, asking people for um, questions, game week one drafts, whatever. You can share it as well. That option is available to you as well. So for those of you who don't have access to the Discord or don't even use Discord, it's a really good another option, and I'm going to try and keep this a bit more active as well, so that we build a better community on here as well. So I thought I'll mention that to you guys all as well. And now that FPL MFZ is also on here, says I can't wait to dunk on Arsenal. Now that MFZ is on here as well, he also gave me a suggestion of creating a Twitter chat group as well, which I don't mind. So for maybe we'll create like one on Twitter for any of the community on X. You guys wanted, we could probably create a group there as well. But I would try and focus as much as possible to try and get everyone to be involved on the YouTube community section as well. Because that means that's all the subscribers there are. It's basically the community that we have here. But I don't mind creating a chat group on X as well, like MFZ suggested ahead of the new season. So any of the YouTube chatbox, sorry, the football chatbox community who is on X would also have one there. But like, yeah, these are just alternative options for those also who don't have access to Discord. But yeah, main focus, community tab. Go check it out. Say hello. Send a message. I went and posted a new post today about it, so have a look. Say hello to this. I think Ez has already replied as well in there, so go check it out. But yeah, that was obviously a short new feature that I thought I would mention to you guys. And it's something that we can use at for the upcoming season as well. Try and discuss everything and all of that. So yeah, that is basically the fixtures. Let me know obviously what you guys think about that in terms of the community option, and also what do you guys think about the fixtures. Read in your questions right now. Safe pick at the start, injury free. Who is that? Is that Enzo? Yeah, fair enough. X is getting bigger again. Yep, fair enough. 2 at the end of the season. Lots of information there. Yes, I will be clipping that. Or I might even make another video that relates back to that when I'm doing my Game Week 1 draft as well. Cool. Anything else? Anyone else? Any questions? Let me know in the comments. But that's what we got at the moment. Transfers, since I did the last transfers video, nothing really has changed too much, interestingly, for the moment. So we haven't had a need to do another transfer stream, but we might look into doing another transfer stream maybe next week, potentially sometime next week. We could probably do like a Wednesday stream, another Wednesday stream next week. Just discuss what's happening in the Premier League. If any transfers happen, we'll discuss that as well. So that'll be a stream next Wednesday. But I will, in the meantime, I'm going to try and get a video either by the end of this week or the start of next week for the new promoted teams, looking at all 3 promoted teams. And I'll mention 3 players from each team that you can look to target ahead of the new season. So that's something that I want to try and get out, ideally by the end of this week, if possible. If not, the start of next week. Sorry, chat, missed a bit of your chat as the missus just got home from work. No worries, all good. You can just scroll back and see, because I showed a few new features. Just scroll back once the video is done, or you can even on the live video, you can just revert back just to see what I said. Depending on prices, Forest defense might be good for the early part of the season. Yes. Ooh, I would let me see. Have a look. Forest. Yeah, Brentford, Crystal Palace, West Ham, Arsenal being the only tough one. Burnley and Sunderland, then Newcastle. So then this is where you probably offload. Yes, Forest was another team. It's another team that probably you start off with, and then maybe you look to offload during that first that wildcard window between game week 6, 7, or even 7, 8. You look to offload Forest players, because Newcastle, Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, After that, where you would expect also after that with like European fixtures as well, you might expect a slight dip in performance by Forest with Europe, with having to deal with European fixtures as well. Um, so maybe another team that you start off with and then slowly look to offload. Again, depends on prices. I think there'll be prices around 5.5 potentially. To make it easier, the team selection, not players like Gunners, Defense, Everton, Villa, Attack. What shirts would you put where? But sometimes they don't start where they dropped a bit towards the end of last season. Yep, I'll scroll back afterwards. Yep, no worries. Team selection, not players like Gunners, Defense, Everton, Villa, Attack. What shirts would you put? Oh, so like a. Mm, so like if I was to do a draft, I just put like jersey pictures and try and make a draft of like, oh, this is what I would have. But that the problem with that is trying to figure out, depends on the prices, and without knowing the prices, I can't really tell you which is good value and which isn't good value at the moment. At this moment, we look at like Forest decent fixture run, Chelsea with a decent opening fixture run, Spurs with a decent opening fixture run. So those are some teams to have a look at, and then we'll have to see what prices their players come in. Liverpool, tough run to start with, like Bournemouth, Newcastle, and Arsenal. 3 games back to back, tough opening run. But you still probably might want a Salah in there potentially. Haaland, Haaland might be a bit more of a more popular game week 1 captain compared to Salah potentially, because they play Wolves. So again, that raises the question of Haaland versus Salah. Depends on their prices as well. There might be a situation where people don't start off with Salah as well, where they go Bournemouth, Newcastle, Arsenal, 3 tough fixtures. Don't start with Salah. Wait it off. Start with Haaland for Wolves, Spurs, and Brighton, and then switch Haaland to a Salah or something like that. People might do. Um, so we'll have to wait and see. They might even start with Palmer and switch Palmer to Salah potentially, like after game week 4 or something. Or like after game week 3, they might even switch Palmer to Salah. I don't know. So we'll have to see. It depends on how the prices come in. Do you think Rogers might leave? I don't know if he'll leave. I highly doubt it. But anyways, go for both at the start, Salah or Haaland, but money bank to get one. Last season, I actually went for both. I was able to go for both. My biggest mistake was having a bit more too many punts in other positions. And also the fact that I removed Salah too early. That was my mistake. But I was able to go for both. But I wasn't able to go for Palmer, who also started off really well. Again, we had to see how the prices go. So yeah, that's basically all I had to say for today. Any further questions? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Any further questions? Also, if you've reached up to this point, do hit that like button. Also, subscribe if you are new, because we're trying to get. What's the next goal? I think the next goal should be to double our subscribers. So to go from 1,000 subscribers to 2,000 subscribers. That's probably 2,000. Yeah, 2,000. 2,000 would be a good goal, and then after that, like 5, and then from there on also go. But yeah, next goal is basically 2,000 subscribers. So do subscribe if you are new. If you guys know friends, family, anyone playing FPL, want some FPL content, tell them to subscribe as well. Even though they might be a challenger in your mini leagues, it's fine. Tell them to subscribe. We'll just make sure that you try and win your mini leagues ahead of them, but just get them to subscribe as well. I might not go for both at the start. Mid-table attacking defenders are the top picks last season. Same for next, I'd say. We'll have to wait and see. I'm also interested in goalkeeper prices. I would like to, for the upcoming season, maybe get one goalkeeper. I should probably look into goalkeeper rotation. I haven't looked into goalkeeper rotation on this one. I'll probably look into a goalkeeper rotation sometime later. But goalkeepers are also something I would like to get one goalkeeper and not have to kind of change that goalkeeper if possible. Which means I probably start off with like a Pickford, for example, or even a Cells at the start, and then not change it for the first start, and then on the wild card switch to a different keeper potentially. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe in Jan if I'm not doing well in terms of Rogers. Yep. I'll push you, man. Go ahead. Thank you, Andy. All right, I think we will end it here. So shout out to Andy, Tiger, Com as well, FPL MFZ, who I will probably look into creating a X group chat as well. Anyone on X can join there as well. Uh, but that will be sometime a bit more closer to the season once the game has launched potentially. Freddy, shout out to you as well. I mentioned Com. G, shout out as well. Jamie as well. And anyone who's been watching in the background as well, absolute shout out to you all as well. I will see you all next Wednesday where we'll just talk some football, see what transfers have happened, if anything has actually happened, and just catch up with everyone and see how they're doing. But that's it for today. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are from the fixtures. I will look to try and get a video out by the end of this week or start of next week about the 3 promoted teams. When's your live stream next? We'll do one next Wednesday actually. So next Wednesday, we'll just talk football next Wednesday. See what transfers have happened as well. Like, yeah, next Wednesday. I think we still are easing back in gently. Yes, indeed, easing back in gently. Same time, yes, same time as we started this week. We'll start next week as well. I think we are 1 to maybe about 3 weeks away potentially from the game launching. Maybe 3 weeks or even a month away from the game launching. So for now, we'll just have one live stream a week. And I'll make a video sometime this week or like start of next week for the promoted teams. So slowly but slowly getting into the content. And also, like I mentioned before, let me switch back to the screen. No, wrong. This screen. Check out the where is it? Oh yeah. Check out the Football Chatbox community on YouTube. Share anything you have, any like football stuff, discussions, feel free to share it on here. Let's try and get this going as well in terms of that. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Have a good night, everyone, or a good evening to you all, depending on where you are in the time, whichever time zone you are. And I will catch you all next Wednesday. Peace out.